Okay, good evening. Woo-hoo. Jimmy, can you have your crowd stop talking back there? There we go. All right. Good evening. I want to welcome you all to a very special and historic meeting for the city of Lookout Mountain and for the Lookout Mountain community. We are so glad you're here tonight. Before we get started, my name is David Bennett. I'm the mayor of Lookout Mountain, Georgia. I'd like to introduce you to several people. City council members, Bill Pickering, can y'all please stand? And keep standing until I ask you to sit back down. Yeah, all right. And then also members of the Planning Commission and the Comprehensive Plan Committee. Could you please stand up as well? Not everybody could be here tonight. Thank you all. Thanks for standing. I just want to do that real quick. Usually people clap. Yeah. But a very special thank you for a bunch of community leaders, City Council, Planning Commission, Comprehensive Plan Committee. We have an amazing group of volunteer leaders in our community that are incredibly supportive of this project and a lot of other things that are happening in the city right now, especially to the Planning Commission and the Comprehensive Plan Committee, who have done a lot of heavy lifting to get us to where we are tonight. So again, I appreciate your commitment and dedication to this project. Tonight we have a pretty simple agenda. We have Bob Franklin, our architect, who is going to present the new plans for our town center. Then we also have Arch Willingham, member of the City Council and member of the Town Center Committee, who is going to be talking about the cost of the project and a construction timeline on when we plan on getting started. And then lastly, Jim Saborn, our vice mayor, who is going to be sharing with us how we intend to pay for this project. But before we get started, I think it's important to take a quick look back over what's happened over the last 11 and a half years. It's hard to believe, but August of 2007, the Mountain Market, our grocery store, burned to the ground, leaving a huge hole right in the heart of our community. Soon after that fire took place, Mayor Tommy Gifford, the city council at that time, and Scott McClellan, the owner of the grocery store property and the other commercial property around there, they all came together and they made an important decision. Instead of Mr. McClellan rebuilding what was lost in that fire, the city, in partnership with Mr. McClellan, decided to take a step back and to think in terms of what could become a new town center for our community. We would not be here tonight if that decision had not been made 11 and a half years ago, and we are very grateful for their wisdom in making that decision. And can everybody hear me back there okay? Dad, can you hear me okay? Okay. All right. So that's where we started from. Over the last 11 and a half years, I know it looks like not a lot has happened at the town center area where City Hall is located right now. But the truth of the matter is we have worked literally for the last 11 and a half years trying to get us to this point where we are tonight. What started out after the city, in partnership with Scott McClellan, after they decided to step back and think about a new town center, the city went out and hired a consultant by the name of Phil Walker. This microphone is terrible. Can y'all hear me okay? Okay. Huh? No? Just keep using it? Okay. All right. And I forgot where I was. Welcome to the town center meeting tonight. Phil Walker, thank you. So the city went out and hired a consultant by the name of Phil Walker. This happened in early 2008. Phil Walker and his team came into our community, got to know us, and they led a group of citizens, about 60 residents or so, led us through an envisioning process to help us understand what a town center is, and then also tried to help us figure out what we were wanting out of a town center, what it should look like, those types of things. In May of 2008, Phil and his team came back into our community and made a presentation, actually right here in this room, to a standing room crowd. It was a great meeting, and the city, our community, was very, very supportive of this project. It was a great start. Ever since then, that was about 10 and a half years ago. Ever since then, though, the city, although been an incredibly slow process, the city has taken important steps along the way to get us to where we are tonight. We eventually purchased the property from Scott McClellan, his commercial property. We also took took steps in dealing with some of the issues that Phil Walker recommended in his presentation back in May of 2008. There were really three things. Number one, he said, you got to get your public works facility out and away from the core of your downtown. If you remember, several years ago, that's where our garbage trucks and dump trucks and all of our heavy equipment were located. So we've since moved all that stuff out from the core of our community and have built a new town center, have built a new public works facility on the southern part of our city on Little Lake Road. We have also, so the city has purchased that property. We purchased Scott McClellan's property, and the city has spent, and you may be surprised to hear this number, but over the last 11 and a half years, the city has actually spent close to $1 million getting us to where we are tonight, primarily in the land cost and the construction of a new public works facility. But tonight we're here, and this is an exciting time. So without further ado, I'm going to turn this over to Bob Franklin, and I'm excited. One thing I will say about Bob is the guy who encouraged the city, Mayor Gifford, and Scott McClellan to come together to back up and think in terms of a new town center and eventually won the project. So I'm going to turn it over to Bob.
Thank you, Your Honor. Tell him what? Oh, come on in. There's some seats in here if you'd like. Gertrude Stein was a contemporary of Calder Willingham, not Calder Willingham of Lookout Mountain, Georgia, but Calder Willingham. How's he related? Uncle? No, how about the other Calder, the famous Calder? The great uncle of Arch had a peer named Gertrude Stein, and they were modernist authors in the first half of the 20th century. And she said all sorts of kind of fun things. One was, you look ridiculous if you're dancing, you look ridiculous if you're not dancing, so go ahead and dance. Another one was, and this is more pertinent, America is my country, Paris is my hometown. And she was getting to something there. And this really started getting to it. What was the use? Now, she lived in the East. She moved to Oakland, California before she moved to Paris at the beginning of the 20th century. What was the use of my having come from Oakland? It was not natural to have come from there. Yes, write about it if you like, or I'll write about it if I like, or anything if I like, but not there. There is no there. And she was getting to a point that we want to talk, what is a town center? And I would like to, if you feel so inclined, close your eyes and think about something. If not, just keep your eyes open. If you think about Swanee, Tennessee, the downtown area, and then think of Mont Eagle, the downtown area. If you think about Jasper, Tennessee, the downtown area, and then think of Kimball, Tennessee, the downtown area. I don't know if you can visualize these things or not. If you think about Franklin, Tennessee, now it's a town that many of you may not have been to, but if you have, it's a really nice downtown area. And then I hate to talk about someone local, but how about Red Bank, Tennessee? Franklin versus Red Bank. Seaside, or Rosemary Beach versus Blue Mountain. We all vacation there. Blue Mountain's just a nice kind of neighborhood. And yet Seaside, there's something special about Seaside and Rosemary Beach. And now I'm really going to stretch. This is where I probably lose the crowd. Think of Gatlinburg and think of Pigeon Forge. Now, none of us are going, oh, Gatlinburg's not a good example. Before you write it off so fast, why do so many people go to Gatlinburg and walk the streets? While it's nothing but ticky-tacky shops, it does have a sense of place. And that's what a town center has. It has a distinct sense of place. And those positive examples, even little bitty Swanee, Tennessee, has a distinct sense of place. Where Mont Eagle, the downtown of Mont Eagle, does not. In Monteagle, you pass through it. In the weak examples of towns, you just drive through them. You never really arrive. You never really leave. You just kind of, But the really good examples, you're driving along and you enter into this, oh, look, I just entered into this nice town. And oh, I just left this nice town. A good town, and I'm not going to just read that. I'd rather just kind of discuss in general. There's a sense of arriving. There's a uniqueness. Lookout Mountain, Georgia should have a unique sense of its own. For the people who live here, for your guests, for the tourist, they should come up to the top of and get to the Methodist Church and take a right and go, I just arrived. And as they drive towards Tennessee, and they're going, all of us, as we're going towards Tennessee, there should be that sense of, I just left Lookout Mountain, Georgia, the downtown, the town center. A town center belongs to everybody. Your individual streets belong to you and your neighborhood. They don't belong to everybody. The town center belongs to the community, and that's what is special about a town center. And that's what's so cool about Lookout Mountain, Georgia. I don't know of another small town in this area that has the opportunity to create its own sense of place. I mean, it is I live on Signal Mountain. Don't hold that against me. I've tried to sell the developers and Frank Powell and all my good friends on how to create a town center up there, but economically it doesn't work, honestly. I understand that. But up here it does. Right now, this is small enough and compact enough that you can do it. When they employed us, I'm not sure, a year ago, 18 months ago, we went back and looked at the 2008 study. It's all very, very good. We didn't redo this at all. These are just good urban design principles. And again, what it's pointing out is the difference between a Brainerd Road, a CVS on Brainerd Road, and a higher quality urban, what would you do in a downtown area? And that's what this slide was. This was not us. This was from 2008. So, this is you today. You have City Hall, you have the police and fire station, you have the maintenance building, you have the site of the original grocery store, you have Scott McClellan's property up the page where Pyramid Records, I believe, used to be, kind of a strip. These are just for context so you can visualize your own town hall and maintenance building. Interestingly enough, the fire and police building, we have probably 200, I'm embarrassed to tell you this, we have 200 photographs of this site, and none of us ever thought to take a photograph of that building because it is so nondescript. It's just, we looked and looked and couldn't find one. So this is the proposed site plan for the new town. Where it says renovated town hall, that's the site of the existing town hall. And what we're going to propose to you is that you tear that down and rebuild one that's more appropriate, and it would be a prouder, more significant civic building for you. The new fire and police station, which you'll see in a second, is a reworking of that existing maintenance building. We would be tearing down the existing police and fire building that's behind Town Hall, and then there would be two out parcels here, out right on Lulu Lake. One of the things we'd very much like for you to do is master plan 4. Again, what you're seeing today is not for all 4 of these buildings. What's being considered is the renovated town hall, and it says renovated, but in reality it's new. Anyway, and the new fire and police station. The other 2 are out parcels that would be master planned for private developers. But in between that would be a street where we show plaza. That would be a pedestrian street. And so that the town hall is at the end of an axis with the plaza, giving it a place of prominence. One of the things that we think is real important is a good downtown area, especially for the retail component, needs on-street parking. So we very much are recommending that Lulu Lake become a city street with on-street parking. Typically that would be parallel parking, but that's very low density. So we're recommending either perpendicular or diagonal parking to maximize the number of parking along Lulu Lake Road. Some folks would say, oh, but that will slow down traffic. Yes, that's exactly right. A good downtown area, you don't want to fly through a good downtown area, especially when it's only 200 feet long. And then this would also create a perimeter road around it where the majority of the parking would be. So most of the cars would actually could be and would be behind the new development. These are images. What is Lookout Mountain, Georgia? What is the character? In our mind, it's a mixture of materiality. It's a mixture of mountain stone, stucco, much like this building. But we think, at first we were headed down that road where it's all that. We've also looked, there's a lot of brick and painted brick. So what you're going to see from a material standpoint would be painted brick and stucco and mountain stone. That is Town Hall at the end of the axis, at the end of the red umbrellas. These two out parcels are just our ideas of what we'd recommend someone else consider building. Again, these two front buildings are not part of the immediate plans. They are out parcels. And then that would be the renovated maintenance building that would be the new police and fire department. These are just close-ups of some of the out parcels. This is a close-up of what, where it says fire hall, that's actually, the intent is to actually take that frame that's there, reclad it in a new skin, and add on to it. So where 1 and 2 is, that's actually a new addition to that building. And I skipped over something real quick. My favorite photograph. These photographs at the top. That's Rosemary Beach up at the top. That's Knoxville, the middle to the right. That's Prague in Poland. These are all good examples of town squares, new and old. Some of these are 500 years old. Some of these are 10 years old. But the little girl at the fire department, my sons, Bo and Jonathan, one of their favorite things many years ago was with Fred Schumpert, was to walk up to the fire department in Lookout Mountain, Tennessee, and go play on the fire engines. A fire station is actually a very, very, very public building, or should be. So I'm eating down on Main Street, right across from Station 1, and I look out at dinner, and there's this family, and all the streets are full on Main Street, people walking, and here's this family, all the firefighters are out sitting there on a wonderful evening, and here's this little girl and her mother, and they let her go in and turn on the lights, and she comes out, and it was a very, very civic, really just, it was a cool moment for this little girl. And that's what you have the opportunity here. Your fire engines, your apparatus will be here. And I would love to think that you would be taking your grandchildren up there to play on the fire engines. So again, a fire station has to have red doors. It's not a fire station without red doors. That would be the plaza. Again, these are very conceptual, but that'd be the plaza looking across Lulu Lake towards Town Hall with the two out parcels right and left. Arch, would you like to come to discuss money?
Hi, I'm Arch Willingham. I'm on the city council. I also happen to be a general contractor. sitting here a minute ago listening to Bob talk and thinking about the vision of all this stuff. Doing the count a minute ago, my daughters are 5th generation of my family that live up here. I've lived in 9 houses up here in my life. This is a great community. I mean, if y'all have ever sat through one of our city council things, and Caroline made a city do a little chart about a year ago showing the crime stats. And there's 0, 0, 0, 0, 1 speeding ticket, 0, 0, 0. You know, any other community this size in the United States would be jealous to have those kind of stats. And to that end, we would like to help perpetuate that. I also teach at UTC, and one of the things is that my students don't like people to read the slides, so y'all can read this. In general, project's going to be about $3 million. City Hall's about 320 a square foot. Fire station's about 300 a square foot, and the rest is site architecture, which was a low, low price. Thank you, Bob. Construction contingency, et cetera. That's the gist of it. It's a great thing for the city. When you come across the Georgia line right now, and you've got this beautiful mountain, and you come around the corner, and there's this building that was built actually before I was. It just detracts from the experience on our side of the mountain. So we think this is a good thing. And now, fire away. Oh, the general schedule. So I had it in my notes. In general, we'll break ground in October 2019 and be finished October 2020, and that's what he's got. So this is a very doable thing. I think we could probably get it done quicker than that, but it'll be a great project. Yep. Now the hard part. Yeah.
Thank you. So I'm not here to talk very specific about what we will do from a financing perspective. It's more about what we can do. There's still a lot of work to do. We've done a fair amount of research on different options available to us, but when we nail down what a specific solution will be, we'll be coming back to you and talking more specifics about that, and happy then to show you amortization schedules and all kinds of fun things. In the meantime, several messages I want to leave with you. Number one is the city is in very good financial position. I think a lot of credit goes to Mayor Bennett and the City Council, Planning Commission, and lots of others over the last few years in really focusing on improving the city's financial position. And so today, I'm happy to say we have and I'm trying to find the right place to stand without being in everybody's way here, but we have a very good balanced budget. We have reserves of approximately $1.5 million. That's probably as good a shape. I've been on the council for 8 years, I think, and that's by far the best shape we've been in as a city. We also believe, and this is probably what a lot of you want to hear, is that we believe we can finance the town center without raising taxes. There's the debt service. I'll talk about some options in a second. The debt service we estimate to be about $130,000 a year, okay? And we have budgeted right now about $186,000 per year. So we believe that we can cover the debt service. Third message is there are a number of options available to us. Number one is grants, and trust me when I say if there's free money out there, we will go after it diligently, because that's priority number one. We think the best option for us is a USDA loan, which is a federal government loan. It's made for situations like this, and it's low interest rate and long term. You can get those loans for up to 40 years. Then there's the standard bank loans, public municipal bonds, and we're happy to talk in more detail about any of those, or a combination of any of those. I told you earlier we have about $1.5 million in reserves. Our plan would be to use some of that. I think we haven't landed on exactly how much of that as a down payment to reduce the debt service. But again, when we believe we've landed on a solution, we will be coming back to you and talking in more detail about that. And lastly, I think regardless of what we do, we will continue to seek public input. We'll be transparent through the process, and most importantly, we have all taken an oath, and we will act in what we think is the public's best interest. So we all, well, I can't speak for everybody. I think if I wouldn't be here if I wasn't in support of a town center. I think we need it. I'm hoping that if any of you have talked to realtors or any others in the community, they'll tell you that's a sore spot for us. And so our goal is to figure out how we can do this in the least painful way to taxpayers. And we think we've got a number of options available. So with that, I'll turn it back to Mayor Bennett.
All right, thank you all for your parts of the presentation. It's been a nightmare thinking I was going to walk by this screen and fall over. So we are very excited about where we are. This is an exciting thing for our community. But now that you've seen the presentation, we do want to give the community an opportunity to respond with questions or comments. So with that said, the floor is yours. Jack Webb, you got something you want to say? Did I see you raise your hand? Well,
You just called. Yeah, I'll make a brief comment, and it sounds like Bob Franklin and I talked or collaborated. We've had no conversation about this, right, Bob? None. But his opening comments were very similar. I jotted down a couple of brief thoughts this afternoon, just really in about 10 minutes, just thinking about Lookout Mountain and different communities and how important it is to try to, put our best foot forward in terms of the amenities that we have to offer and the desirability and what can attract other people, not only the current members and residents of a community, but also for the future. And these are just a couple of few things I literally just wrote down about 2 hours ago. Lifestyle, quality of life, enjoyment, convenience, walkability, safety, positive atmosphere and environment, and a sense of place, connectivity, and well-being. It almost sounds like Bob's Cliff Notes. This is so important in real estate. I know there's several realtors that have been in business up here a long time. We spend a lot of our livelihood and our time promoting this community. And as Bob said, Lookout Mountain has a lot of great things going for it. And it's a wonderful community, and we have a lot of very unique and positive attributes of our community. We're very blessed. Something like this could really kind of take us to the next step or the next level in terms of something that would be very positive and improve the lifestyle, the connectability, the sense of place, the sense of well-being, the desirability of not only all of us enjoying this community, but also the future of our community. The last thing I'll say is one of the main things that young people look for in real estate and in a place to live is lifestyle. A lot of young people is what I call the lock up and go mentality, where they're not as worried about the big house and the white picket fence, a lot of these things that us that are a few years older than some of the young folks here treasure, but they do value a lot of the things that Lookout Mountain have to offer, and one of the main things that they look for is lifestyle, in a place that's safe and walkable and enjoyable, unique. Another thing that I tell people is if you draw an imaginary circle around downtown Chattanooga and the North Shore, any place within about 15 minutes commute of downtown is in play and becoming more and more desirable, particularly for young people, because they want to be close to the center of the action. So the more desirable that we can make Lookout Mountain, the more we'll be in play. I think all of you all know we're in direct competition with North Chattanooga and Signal Mountain. And they each have a lot of their own amenities, a lot of their own assets, which I never put those communities down. I always put our best foot forward. And I just think this is one more thing that would be a real feather in the cap. Thanks.
Thanks, Jeff. Okay, any other questions or comments?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm a fairly new resident, came here in 2016. and McFarland Road, right around the corner. And I can't thank you enough. I have a master's in city planning. So this is wonderful. It fits right in with everything that he said. It makes the place very attractive. I came here because I couldn't find a decent place in the city. It's like the same lifestyle. Much too crowded, and we're very convenient. So this is wonderful, and I think this will take us to the next level. Question: what do we have an idea of a timeline?
Yes, so our intention at this point is to begin construction in October, November of this year. Going ahead and moving forward. And we're ready to do it financially. Thank you for your comment. Anybody else? It's a quiet crowd. We do have a bar back here if y'all. Was there someone over here?
I got one there. So you kind of brushed over the outbuildings. Do you have any interest? Any restrictions? That's kind of a big part of it. I'm just curious about the outbuildings.
Yeah, so great question. And I will tell you, yes, we do. We do have interest. And the city will be re-releasing an RFP in the upcoming months so that we can go ahead and re-engage people that are actually, in fact, interested in doing the commercial part of the overall town center. Thanks. Yes?
Hi, I'm just curious how a community like this qualifies for the United States Department of Agriculture loan. USDA loan?
It is. It's a special government program. We obviously are not in a poverty area here, but we do qualify for those types of loans.
Based on population?
I don't know how we qualify, but we apparently do qualify. Sorry. Didn't ask the why. I just wanted to say find out if. Oh, no, I don't think so. Yeah, Bob.
School on the USDA money together. I don't have any idea what USDA has to do with school for private charter.
Okay.
USDA,
They do. Thanks for your question. Sorry, I don't have the greatest answer. It is for cities under 20,000. There's your answer. I knew it was out there somewhere. Okay. Other questions? Yes. Oh, sorry, hold on. Let's go here first, and then we'll come back to you.
Just one comment about the on-street parking. I think you glossed over that a little bit too casually. Yes, you can say that that's going to slow down the traffic, but I'm afraid that reality is that people are in a hurry to get where they're going, and that's a high-speed road, higher than the speed limit. And I think you're perhaps inviting accidents. If it's successful and those shops fill up and there's lots of people coming in and out of those parking spaces, it is going to be a problem. And it's one thing to say, well, okay, make them slow down. But it's another thing to create a potential for having a lot of accidents, which we don't have now. And you may be creating it here. So I hope you'll look for a possibility. I can't suggest anything off the top of my head, but it is a concern for me.
Thank you. Yes, Billy. Thank you, Billy.
We appreciate your presentation. Without trying to be a naysayer, we have a second home up here. Our first home is down in Jacksonville, Florida, living community in Jacksonville. And our real estate taxes there for county and city are about a third of what they are up here. And every year in November, I'm writing a check and I'm choking it down. And I'm not quite sure. I mean, we don't have any income tax in Florida. And this is not a Florida advertisement. But I'm just puzzling if I'd rather pay more taxes up here to be able to walk out into the street and see the town hall or a fire truck. I'm not sure I would. But anyway, just a different perspective. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? I cannot see, by the way, with the sun. Yes.
I couldn't hear the question. The answer is yes. It's not fully developed. The question is will the plaza develop? Will the plaza? Yes. The answer is yes. The plaza will be part of it.
Let me see if I can do it. Is there a millennial in the house? See if you can get this stuff. The answer is, in this budget, we are hopeful for the improvements to Lulu Lake. That's the perimeter road. Oh, there. Okay. Thank you. Okay, the question is the plaza part of phase one? And the answer is that yes, we very much want it. It is a budget-driven decision. We are working towards a $3 million budget. And yes, our plan is for that to be part of the $3 million. Yes. And let me address something else that somebody brought up. What happens if these two out parcels, for lack of a better term, don't get built in the near future? In our mind, that becomes an urban home. That becomes a green space. My only fear in that is that you will get to love your green space so much that you'll then lean on the mayor not to ever develop it, which would be a shame. But yes, what we'd like to see is that to be a green space in front of town hall, as well as the plaza as well. When I say green space, it's both hard and green. It's hardscape and softscape.
Okay. David Williams, is that you? Yeah. Okay.
I'd like to reinforce the comment earlier about parking on the street. I agree with the concern that it may promote more access, especially pedestrian crosswalk. Other concern is that there are many contractors who now park in the parking lot and Matco during the day. You'll inevitably move all those contractor trucks to that on-street parking, which will not only clog up parking, but also cause further opportunity for accident as they back out with their big trucks. So I think that's should be reconsidered.
Okay, thank you. And to comment on the traffic and the, first of all, the on-site traffic that is being proposed is nothing new to this area. We've had this for as long as the city hall and the grocery store has been there. That's always been there. And I think the police have said that, I mean, hardly ever have we ever had a traffic or an accident. A couple of fender benders, but nothing serious. However, with that said, it's important when you enter into the area where the town center will be that we do have some sort of rise in the road so that you know that you're there. And so that will promote slower traffic along the way. So, yes?
Is the plan that the city would own those outbuildings? So the buildings themselves, as well as the businesses in them, would be private development?
We will be looking for a partner to co-develop the property. Yes, thank you. Okay. Mayor Gifford, there you go.
First of all, I just want to thank Mayor Bennett and the council for moving this forward. He referenced earlier, I was involved in this in 2008 when we started it. We still have a lot of the same people, Phil Walker, Bob Franklin, involved. And I think it's time, I'm sure everybody in here can find something that we don't like about this, but it's a great plan overall. I think we need to leave it to the professionals that are involved and leave it with the council to pay for it. And it's time to move forward and make Lookout Mountain, Georgia relevant. And I think it'll also open up other opportunities.
Thank you, Tommy. You're not running for re-election, are you?
I'd just like to make a comment wanted to thank you for this, that I think is long overdue. I agree that this is such an asset. We need to know our assets. We need to, you know, as already been stated, we need to bring us forward, bring us up to date, move us on. I can't help but to just continuously admire the taxpayers' home and see how that update makes me hope that maybe that will continue down the road there. But to address the issue of parking, I don't see that as a problem. This is just time or even a rebuilding process, because one, it's starting out with the fire hall and the town hall, but those are, you know, we build houses on that line, and we have construction people, and on the Tennessee side, there's parking in front, and I don't see that as being any different. You know, they slow the traffic a little bit there, but the bottom line, you can't drive fast anywhere on Lookout Mountain, because I don't know about y'all, but I've been warned a few times. So I don't see the speed, I don't see the, you know, any of that being an issue. I think this is a wonderful opportunity for us to move forward.
Great. Thank you. Okay. Yes, we have a.
I don't quite understand the part about the outbuildings. Will the city get rental money income on the outbuildings, and is that figured into the overall budget?
Thank you. No, we intend to sell the front two buildings, these lots here. We will have it pad ready, and we intend on selling those to a developer. Thank you. Yep.
The survey we sent out, there was, I don't remember the numbers. How many people wanted the town center in that survey?
I don't remember. Yep. I'll bring that up in a second. Okay. Yes, Gail.
Thank you. I think I have the microphone still. What material is the fire hall and police station? The town hall seems to be very traditional. I assume it's painted brick. But what is the facade of that building going to be, and will it fit in with the character that we're presumably trying to continue on that?
What this rendering depicts is a mixture of mountain stone, three materials actually: mountain stone, stucco, and painted brick. So in our mind, that front facade was painted brick. Going down the wider side was stucco, and then the lower section was actually painted brick as well, along with mountain stone accents. So it's a mixture of the three. One of the things that we think design-wise is you do not want all your buildings in your downtown to all be exactly the same. If you look at really good towns, each building needs its own distinctive character. I mean, they need to complement, but they do not need to match. If they match, it becomes so homogeneous that you've lost that uniqueness and that personality that a good town center has. But it can be, I mean, you know, if the fire station becomes all mountain stone, and those kind of decisions can be changed very easily. I'll be honest with you. I do like my red doors. I will not back down off the red doors. So.
Clint, is that you?
Yes.
Yep.
First of all, congratulations. I just been a long time coming to be up there, so it's got to be a relief to be in that position. I wish this would have been in place 3 years ago when I sold my house before I moved off the mountain, because I wouldn't have taken such a bath on my house price. So no doubt this will certainly help the realtors in town. But I'm a little confused on the land. You're going to sell the land to a private developer to develop. do the financials, do they work without that sale?
Yes, they sure do. Yeah.
So if they end up being green space, to Bob's point, the developer can still work.
Absolutely. It would not matter to us. Well, from a money standpoint, obviously we want the commercial to happen.
Sure.
Yeah, but no, we can still do everything without that. Good question. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Well, again, we are very excited about this project. A couple of things to tell you about. Well, let me back up. The Comprehensive Plan Committee re-released a survey to our community in the fall of this past year. And one thing that was very reaffirming to us, both in the survey results and in all the 86 pages of comments we received, our community is 88% behind this project. I mean, we can't get a whole lot more support than 88%. That's a very encouraging thing. The other thing that was great is that there were not any new ideas that came through that survey. We've gotten all the public information that we know that we can get. So we believe that the community is very supportive. We're very excited, and we are ready to move forward. We thank you all for being here tonight. Two last things. Next Monday night, we are going to have a smaller version of this meeting at City Hall at 6 o'clock. And then also, if you have questions or if you have comments you'd like to make, and we'll send this out to you in an email, but we've set up a email address called, what is it called? townCenter@lookoutmtnga.com. Is that right? Okay, great. So feel free to email your thoughts and questions to that email address, and we'll make sure that we respond quickly. Okay, with that all said, thank you very much.